All right, time for a little take your pick as it relates to rookies. Let's start with receivers. Who will have the most receiving yards between Cardinals receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., Giants receiver Malik Neighbors, or Rome Odunze?
Well, I'm not going to go with Rome Odunze simply because of the reason that we just said. I think those three receivers are going to split up the yards. He's not going to be the focal point. The other two guys are the focal points of those offense. They step in as wide receiver one. I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison simply because I think Kyler Murray will give him a ton of chances. They're going to throw the ball a lot. So I think Harrison will lead the rookie receivers and has a great chance to be the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I think it's going to be Neighbors. I think that Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, is going to be able to scheme Neighbors open. He's going to be double covered right out of the gates. I think Harrison will be as well. But Neighbors was the guy that had that buzz. Even though Harrison had the name recognition and the presumption he'd be the first receiver taken, Sims had Neighbors higher than Harrison, and a lot of buzz from teams prior to the draft was Neighbors has the potential to be better, to be more spectacular, to be another OBJ type of a figure. Now, can Daniel Jones get him the ball? Again, I think that Brian Daboll will ensure that Neighbors is getting the ball, whether it's Jones or Drew Lock. Neighbors is going to have the ball in his hands and have the opportunity to gain those yards. More passing yards between Caleb Williams of the Bears, Jaden Daniels of the Commanders, or Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who currently is clearly QB2 behind Sam Darnold.
Well, I think the Bears have a real problem if it's not Caleb Williams. It means he was either hurt or he's not as good as everyone thinks he is. And I would expect him to have a huge year with the offense that he's stepping into. No rookie quarterback has ever stepped into an offense with 2,000-yard receivers and 1,000-yard running back and DeAndre Swift. So he has the offense. Now it's up to him to get it done. And just with those weapons, I don't see how he's not going to have a big year, Mike, unless he gets injured.
If I knew McCarthy was going to start from week one, I might say him because he's got a great play caller, play designer, and quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. I'll go Williams just because I think Jaden Daniels may end up pulling the ball down and running it more because he's going to be able to run around guys. He's the guy, when we were at the scouting combine talking to defensive players from the SEC, who is the toughest player you faced in college, and they would say Jaden Daniels simply because he's there and then he's gone. And when you have that level of physical separation where you can just take off, he may end up having a lot of passing yards turned into running yards because he's going to, and that's going to be the challenge, I think, to strike the balance between when do you run and when do you throw. He's going to be inclined, I think, especially as a rookie, to just show what he can do, and he's going to do some great things on the ground, and that's going to take away from his passing yards. All right, who has the most sacks? Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's going to be like Kyler Murray, probably with Jaden Daniel, Kyler Murray's first year. And so you do have to find that balance. I'm going to go with Dallas Turner for kind of the same reason that you said about Malik Neighbors, because I believe in Brian Flores, and I think he's going to give this guy opportunities to get sacks and make big plays. He had 10 sacks last year in college when he was an All-American. So I think it's going to be Dallas Turner, who leads the league and probably has a great chance to be Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Shireen is so eager to start the summer hiatus, she jumped the question. I didn't even say what the topic is. Who has the most sacks between Colts edge rusher Latu, Vikings edge rusher Dallas Turner, or Jared Verse of the Rams? I think one of the keys here is to figure out which of these teams is more likely to be in a position where they, to use the cliche, pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. Which teams are going to be leading in games, creating opportunities for more sacks? So I really don't know. I don't know that any of these teams are going to be in a position where they're leading. Now, the Vikings, with Brian Flores running the show, and you're looking for someone who can, help bolster a pass rush that has lost Danielle Hunter. Marcus Davenport, even though he didn't do much last year, he's not there. So I just think with Flores, that gives Turner the edge, because I don't think any of these guys are going to be getting a bunch of stat padding sacks late in games, because I don't think any of these three teams are going to be up by 20 points on a regular basis when we get to the third or fourth quarter. All right, we're getting toward the third or fourth quarter of the program. When we return, one guy from the 2008 draft class is now a head coach. Another just signed to play a 17th season. We're going to go around the league when PFT Live continues right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.